forgot to mute their thing. Oh,
Okay.
I think it was just Peyton's little boy.
Good afternoon, guys. I don't think he likes.
Sorry.
He doesn't like 153, I guess. Okay. All right. Before I take your questions, I will definitely like to go over the quiz again, the one that you guys got its grade yesterday. Okay, I mean, the class was divided. I have those who did it perfectly, 10 out of 10, no question asked. And I have those who actually couldn't do it. So I will go over it because, you know, your test is coming up and this is definitely will be highly represented. Okay, so step by step. And please, all of you try to participate. I mean, those who are participating are those who are doing it correctly. So I want the rest of you to participate. So I gave you this piecewise defined function. And my question was, find, evaluate this. Okay, so let us first that. On the left side, these are the output values. And here are basically, if you want, you can think of those were where your input are. Okay, so if I want to ask you, I ask the question, what is f of 1? F of minus 1, sorry. What is f of minus 1? So minus 1 is an input value. So what you have to do, okay, the input of minus 1, which property does it satisfy? The function is a rule. So you give it an input and it's going to give you an output, one of them. Piecewise defined function, the output depends on where your input is. That's really how it works. So now, if my input is minus 1, what's my output? So I go back and ask myself, okay, minus 1 is where? Here, here, or here. So I start from the right. Minus 1 is a negative number. So the rule tells me if you have a negative number, your output is equal to 3. So that's 3. Okay, f of 0. Again, that's my input 0. So to find the output, I ask myself, okay, where is my 0? My 0 satisfies this condition. It's less or equal to 0. So the rule tells me if this is the condition, your output is 3. F of 1. And this is, okay, 1, the input of 1. Which condition satisfied? Okay, 1 is not less than 0, so it doesn't satisfy this condition. 1 is between 0 and 4. So my function tells me if your input here, that's the rule for your output. So it means that I have to plug in 1 into that. So some students just put minus 2x plus 4, but it's not really minus 2x plus 4 is the rule, but then you have to plug in the 1 in it, which is gonna give me my 2. Okay. Now, f of 3. Again, what is f of 3? 3 is the input. Where is this input? It's between 0 and 4. So where is the rule for the output? It's minus 2 times 3 plus 4. Minus 6 plus 4, that's my minus 2. Okay, now f of 4, that's the input. The rule tells me your output depends on what is your input. So my input is satisfy this condition. So the output, the rule is that it followed this condition, minus 4 minus x plus 6, and which gonna give me equal to 2. Okay, please, for those who did not get it, just make sure you fully understand this stuff. Or you can come and ask me or ask the tutor. Now, below is the graph of a function. Find a formula for f. So basically now I'm giving you the graph, and I want you to use the graph to come up with a formula like this. So let us see how we do that. So here I want a rule that if I give it an input x, and my x is here, for example, it gives me this for output. I want the formula, if I give it this input, it would give me that. If I give it this input, it would give me this. So I want a formula so that the formula and the graph will give me the same output. All right. So how we do those type of problems? the way we do them is like this. We find the equation of the line that is of this line, that I call it L1. If I know the equation of the line, it means I know that what's the relationship between x and y. Then if I know my x, the y will give me my output right there. So we're going to find the equation of every one of this line. Right. To find the equation of any line, you need the slope and a point, or we need 2 points. In this problem, I gave you how to find those 2 points very easily. So I picked 2 points, so that's -2 and 4, that's a point. -2 and 4, that's 1 point. And I picked another point, so if I take, this is another easy point, because there are no fraction or there is nothing, very easy. So at -4, my function takes the value 5. Okay. Now we're going to find the equation and then analyze a little bit why this will help me finding the formula. So to find the equation, my slope is 5 minus 4 divided by -4 minus -2, which is going to give me a 1 over -4 plus 2, which give me -1/2. And my equation, I use the point slope 4. It's y -4, so I'm going to use this point to find the equation, equal to the slope x minus -2. So this will give me, this is equal to -1/2 x plus 2. Now I do a little bit of math. I will get -1/2 x. 1/2 times 2 is -1 plus 4, giving me -1/2 x plus 3. So what does this tells me for me? What does it really tell me? It tells me the following. So I'm going to erase and then say why this is important. If this equation is y equal -1/2 x plus 3, so that's the equation of this line. Okay, what does this mean? It means if I take x to be -4 and I want to find the output for -4, I can plug it in here. -1/2 times -4 plus 3. So I will get -1/2 times -4, I'm going to get a 2 plus 3. Where am I? So that's -4. My apology, this is -4 right here. So if I want this point, okay, I plug -4 here and I get definitely 5. If I want an output at -3, if I plug it in this equation, I know the y at -3. So if I have any input up to here, if I want to find the output, I just plug it into this equation. It gives me the output. So this tells me the first piece of the function. So this tells me that the output is -1/2 x plus 3 if x is less than -1, because after that, the output does not follow the same rule. So up to here, we have that, and at -1, the rule is also satisfied. So that will solve this piece of the problem. So my output is given by this equation when my x is less than -1, not bigger than -1, right there. That's the output. Now, between -1 and 2, we realize that there is a whole different rule. So we need to find the equation of this line. Now you guys do it. The equation of this line will not be hard. We have an intercept at 3, that's the b, and the slope here is easily, the intercept at -3, and the slope at 3x. So that's the equation of this line. You try, make sure you guys know it. But again, what's the point? It means that if I give you x, if I give x 1, plug it here, we get 0. It's definitely coincide with what I see. if I take x to be a half. So what's this value here? I plug in half here, I will get 3 over 2 minus 3, which is minus a half. It means that if I know the equation here, if I know the input, I know the output. If I know the input, I know the output. If I know the input, and I know the output. But this holds between -1 and 2. So as long as I am between -1 and 2, 2 is it's open at 1 and it's closed as 2, the output of my function will be 3x minus 3. Okay. Now after that, here, if x is larger than 2, then that's easy. No matter what your input is, your output is 3. No matter what your input, your output is 3. No matter what your input, your output is 3. It means the function is equal to a constant value. Okay, so finding the equation is really boiling down to find the equation of each line separately, because if I know the equation, I know the output for every value of x. Okay, so please, those who did not get it, crucial that you go over it. All right. 3. We again had difficulties with 3, which I wasn't really expecting. What is 3? Some of you forgot the definition. What's G composed with F? This is definition. It means G of, not multiplied. Some of students multiplied. It's G of f of 2. Means you evaluate f of 2, you get a number, then you find G of f of 2. Okay, so this is equal to. Now on the side, f of 2 is 1 over 2 times 2 minus 1. It's 1 over 3. That's f of 2. So this is equal to G of f of 2, which is 1/3. It's not multiplied. This little circle means G of. Now what does G do? It takes your input to the power 2, add 2 to it. Okay, so it's gonna give me 1 over 9 plus 2, common denominator, 1 over 9 plus 2 times 9 over 9. It means 1 plus 18 over 9, 19 over 9. All right? Again, f composed with G of 1. It's f. So you start with 1, you compute G of 1, and then you compute f of G of 1. Okay, so it's gonna give me f of. What does G do to 1? It takes 1 squared plus 2. So G of 1 is 3. Then what does f do to 3? 1 over 2 times 3 minus 1, which is 1 over 6 minus, which is 1 over 5. Okay. Now we look at the last question. F composed with G of x. All right, this is equal to. So again, it's f of G of x, f of G of x. So this is equal f of. What is G of x? What does G do? It's f of x squared plus 2. Okay, this is equal to what? What does f do? It's 1 over 2 times minus 1. Means this here will have to go right here. So it's x squared plus 2. Okay. And now the rest, we actually start combining things. 1 over. Now I distribute 2x squared plus 4 minus 1. And now the math tells me that this is 1 over 2x squared plus 3. And of the problem. Okay, for every student who did not get that, please go over this quiz very carefully and ask me questions any way you want. Right? Okay. Now I go back to your questions about the inverse. Please put your questions on the chat so we do the problem about the inverse function. Okay, I'll give you a minute to get your problem down and get going. Which questions do you have about the inverse? Brielle, 7E and one from 15. Okay, we're gonna do 7E and sum of 50. Okay, any other questions? Okay, now somebody is being more precise. I mean, D and D. Very good. Okay, so first, so these are problems about the inverse. So let us remember first what is the inverse is. So the inverse, F inverse of T is the number X, it's the output is the number X, such that have the property that F of X is equal to T. Okay, so that's really what the inverse is. It's the input of F that gives me an output of T. So F inverse is the input of X that gives me an output of T. And graphically, to understand it graphically, it was the following. If I have a function F, I want F inverse of T, it means my T is an output value, and I need to go backward and find the X, such that F of X equal to T. So that's a little bit a summary of what it is. Okay. All right, now with this in mind, we can go through your questions and then we proceed. So let's start with your question. So 7, can you do 7E? All right, let's look at number 7. Number 7, all right. Okay. All right. So this is number 7. So we go through all of it anyway, and let's check it out. I know that your classmate asked only for part E, but we can do all of it. So consider the graph of a function F above on the left. So that's the function they're talking about. Answer the following questions about F at F inverse. As I said, I want answers from all of you, not for the student to always answer. I mean, everybody is welcome, but I want others' participation. All right, what is F of minus 2? That's minus 2. I want F of minus 2. So you guys see the graph as well as I do. What is F of minus 2? And then if you give me the right answer, I will explain it. 4, everybody is telling me 4. If this is F of minus 2, I go back to the graph. Right there, I'm right there. Absolutely 4. Very good. What's F inverse of minus 2? Now, the minus 2 here is what? Is it, what do I mean by what? I mean, is it an input value for F or an output value of F? This minus 2 now is an output value for F. So F inverse of minus 2, it means I need the input that gives me an output of minus 2. So I am right here now. That's my point minus 2. I'm going to go backward, go up. That's my F inverse. So it's absolutely 2. Since, I'm going to write since here, because F at 2 is minus 2. That's really what's happening in here. Okay, F of 0. Okay, that's my 0. F of 0 is 3. What is F inverse of 0? Back to you. Okay, Alex telling me that's 0. F inverse of 0, which input gives me an output of 0? It's 1. Because, here I'm writing because, so to understand this, because F takes 1 to 0, all right? Now, if F of minus 1 equal F of 2 plus K, find the number K. So it looks like kind of hard, but really it's not. So if this happened, what should be K? And I don't know, how can I do something like that? Honestly, it looks harder than it is. What is F of minus 1? What's F of 2? So basically, they want you to set those equal to each other. What is F of minus 1? F of minus 1. This is minus 1. F of minus 1 is 3, right? You guys see better than me. What is F of 2? What is F of 2? Okay, F of 2 is minus 2. Okay, so if this is equal to that, it means you set 3 equal minus 2 plus K. And what this will give you, K equal. C should be this one. Did I have it wrong? F of 0. Oh my goodness, thank you. Thanks a lot. My apology, thank you. All right, so this give me K equal to what? I solve for K, I get 5. All right, so it looks hard, but it's not. It's just plug the value of F at -1, plug F of -2, and solve for K. That's really what this problem will be about. Okay, let's do the last one. I'll give you a minute. You guys give me the answer. All of you do it in front of you. Okay. Anybody got the value of J? Okay, I'm getting answers. All right, I'll do it. What's F inverse of 2? Did we find it? We find it? No, we didn't find F inverse of 2. So this is 2. So F inverse, it means that's an output value. So that's a 3. Equal F inverse of 4. Okay, where is my 4? 1, 2, 3, 4 is here. F inverse of 4, I'm going to go backward. That's -2. Okay, so it's going to give me J equal to 5. Okay. All right. Questions about that? I'm a little bit okay about D. Don't worry about D. Okay, D, no, D. This one? Okay, let's go over it again. F inverse of 0. What does it mean? What does it mean, F inverse of 0? Let's write it down in English. Find F inverse of 0 is the value of X. Okay, F inverse of 0 is the number X. So that's why the value is the number X, such that F of X is equal to 0. That's what F inverse of 0 is. It's the number X such that F of X equal to 0. So what is the number of F of X equal to 0? It's equal to 1. Okay, just write it down. Once you write it, you know exactly what we're doing. All right? Okay, now any questions, please? Okay, the F inverse of 2. Oh, okay, unless I did a mistake. Okay, F inverse of 2. Let's rewrite this down. What's F inverse of 2? It's the number X. So I may do mistakes. I'm not really. Okay, it's the number X such that F of X equal to 2. Okay, so which input has output 2? So 2 is right there, right? That's 2. So what's F inverse of 2? What is the input whose output is 2? What did I put here? Oh, am I doing something wrong here? Thanks, guys. That's very good. It means you're following. All right. So what's F inverse of 2? This is 2. What is the input whose output is 2? Okay, thank you. So it's going to give me J equal to 2. All right. Any other misunderstanding? Anyone? Okay, thanks. Very good. So now we're going to move on to the other questions, which are more algebraic in nature, but they are definitely important because the least we can say is that the algebra is important. So I'm going to look at number 15. And okay, I have DF, and if you need any other one, we can do them. So let's do number D. Okay. All right, so we have the following function. F of X equal minus, sorry, it's G of X, 2 over 3X plus 7. Okay, and the question is find a formula. Find a formula for G inverse of T. Okay, first we write in English what we need to do, and then we do it. What does it mean to find a formula for G inverse of T? This means the following. G of X is the following. Give me an input, and it spit out this as an output. That's G. Now I want another function, another formula that if I know what the output is, if 4, 5, 6, if I know the output, I want a formula that will give me the input. So how do we do that? So find G inverse of T. It means the following. We need to find the value of X such that G inverse of T equal to X. So that's what G inverse of T is. G inverse of T is the number X such that G of X equal to T. So in other words, we need to find the following. We're going to set G of T. Sorry. We set G of X equal to T and solve for X in terms of T. Okay, so to find a formula for G inverse, we do the following. Okay, I have the output T, I want a formula which will give me the input in terms of the output. I want the input in terms of the output. So I'm giving you the output, so that's given. I want the input in terms of the output. So what's G of X? It means I want to set this plus 7 equal to T, and that's important. We're solving for X. X is my unknown in terms of T. Means I know my output. I want a formula that will give me the input in terms of the output. Okay, how can I solve for X? Now I need your ideas. How can I solve for X? Okay, so this is equation for X. How can I solve it? Ideas? How would you solve for X? Remember, solving for X, we have somehow to find a way to isolate X. Now, once I isolate it, I can solve for it. So the step number 1 I need is to find a way to isolate X. So how can I isolate it? I want to take 7 away from both sides. So I'm going to write minus 2 over 3x equal T minus 7. Okay, so step number 1, we're trying to isolate X. So to do that, I will take 7 away from both sides. Okay. Now, I still need to isolate X. But here I have minus 2/3. So what can I do to basically isolate X? All of you, think about it. What can you do to isolate X? So there are several ways. I will do it step by step. Okay, multiply. So one shouldn't multiply. Very good. Let's see what you multiply by. So I'm going to do it a little bit slower than one of your classmates is suggesting. I want to get rid of the 3. I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. Okay? Why? Because I get rid of the 3. So I will have 3, just multiply by minus 3, which is easier. I will have minus 3 times minus 2 over 3x is minus 3 times T minus 7. The benefit of doing this is that the 3 and the 3 will cancel out. Minus minus would leave me with 2x equal this. Okay, so I'm making the problem simpler. But I still have 2x. And now I divide by x across. Sorry, I divide by 2. I get x equal minus 3 times T minus 7 divided by 2. So you can do it step by step if you want. First, we multiply by minus 3. So somehow I can get rid of my denominator of 3 in here. And I picked minus just to make this into a plus, make the algebra easy. But this will leave me with 2x, and then I divide by it across the board. And this would give me that G inverse of t. So that's the rule. G inverse of t is this output, is minus 3 times t minus 7 divided by 2. So now if I give you the input, I say I give you the output, this formula will give me the input that this output is coming from. Okay, so the very nice algebra problem, very good algebra problem. All right, let's do other ones. So the other one, it was GF. I will do F. Okay. All right. We have G of X equal minus 2/3 times the quantity X plus 7. And the question is, find a formula for G inverse of t. It means, as I said, you know the output, you need to find x in terms of t. So the process is, we're going to set G of x equal to t and solve for t in terms of x. In terms of x. So now I know what my output is. That's really the idea. So here I have this function. It should look something like that. That's my G of x. And now I want a formula that if I know the output, how can I come up with the input immediately? That's really what so I know this. What's this should be? So that's the formula I'm looking for. All right, so I'm going to set here equal to t and solve for t. Sorry, solve for x in terms of t. And we have to solve for x in terms of t. Okay. All right. Now again, I will give you a minute to tell me what you want me to do. Remember, we have to isolate the x. We have to isolate it algebraically correct. So how can I isolate the x? There are different ways to do it. Let's see what you guys can come up with. Remember, my goal is really to isolate this x. Somehow, algebraically correct. So what do you want me to do? So, okay. So I really want to, I have this x plus 7 inside parentheses somehow, and I really want a way to get it out of the parentheses so I can isolate it. So one of your classmates tell me, you want to get rid of this minus 2/3 in a way. So our ideas now is basically get this parenthesis by itself. So how can we do that? I want to get rid of minus 2/3. So we can do this, and I will do it slowly, and then I'm going to still doing it slowly. So I'm going to multiply by minus 3 both sides. Now, the benefit of doing this is the following. When I multiply by minus 3, I'm a little bit making it easy for us because 3 cancel. And 2 and 2. I'll have 2 times x plus 7 equal minus 3t. Okay, still I have trouble. I have the 2. So we're going to divide by 2. Both sides. So to get the x plus 7 by itself. So I will have minus 3 over 2t. And now I can isolate my x very easily. Then we're going to subtract 7. And this gives me x equal minus 7. So this will give me a formula for G inverse. So if I know my T, if I know my input, my output is minus 3/2 minus 7. Okay. And before we do another one, I will definitely have to make a comment about another faster way of doing this, that one of your classmates did mention it, but first I want to make sure you follow this approach. Okay. So at this stage here, so this is just in OR, not different, in OR. So I have minus 2/3, basically I'm going to rewrite times that equal to T. Okay. The way I did it, I said, okay, first we divide by minus 3, and then we divide by 2. Another way is that we can do both operations at once in the following way. I want to get rid of minus 2/3, so I tell you, okay, why don't you multiply by 3/2 both sides? And the benefit is actually to isolate the x plus 1. So now when I multiply by 3/2, what will happen? So this is x plus 7. That's minus 2/3. I'm going to multiply by minus 3/2 from here and minus 3/2 from here. The benefit is the following. 3/2 times 2/3. So I multiply so that I can get rid of those, and I will be left with x plus 7 by itself. So instead of doing first dividing by minus 3, multiplying by minus 3, then dividing by 2, I do it at once. You don't have to, but you can do it this way. So that's minus 3 over 2t. So my x is minus 3 over 2t minus 7, which is exactly as we have. So you can either do it 2 steps, or we can do it only 1 step. Okay. All right, let's do 2 problems along those lines. At least one more. I forgot which one I assigned, but I will pick one. Okay. Suppose I take k. I have the function f of x equal 3 over the square root of x. Okay, and the question is find f inverse this time of t. Right. Okay, I'll give you a minute or two to interact with it, get going. Set it up like I'm setting it up. What are you trying to do? Okay. Whoever has the answer, you can put it on chat for me, and then I will see what you guys are finding, and I can go from there. Okay. Anybody got anything? Okay, so we're gonna set f of x equal to t and solve for x. So this is my known and this is my unknown. Okay, that means we're gonna set 3 over root x equal to t, and we're gonna solve for x. So that's what I'm after in terms of t. Okay, all right. Since nobody gave me any answer, I'm gonna take a scratch piece of paper and ask you the following question, and then I'll get back to that. So I'm gonna get back to this after I ask you a little bit of questions. Okay, so suppose I told you to solve the following equation. So this is like a scratch. It's not the solution, that's a scratch for us. Suppose I ask to solve the following equation. 3 over square root of x equal to 2. Okay, how would you do that? Okay, that's the scratch part before we hit the how to do the problem. Suppose I ask you to solve this equation. Remember, our goal is always to isolate x to be able to solve for it. Okay, so I want all of you. So one of your classmates, nobody liked the square root of x in the denominator. He said multiply by the square root of x both sides, just really to help us out. So if I multiply, I get this. Okay, very good. Now, another one. I want you to think with me. You want to isolate your x. What would you do after that? We divide by 2. So I will have 3 over 2 equal to the square root of x. You see, we do it slowly, slowly. And finally, how do we solve for x? I have the square root. I want to get rid of the square root. And that's when I say, that's what will help me to get rid of it. Square. Okay, so it's just going to give me x equal 3 over 2 square. It means 3 half times 3 half, which is 9 over 4. Okay, now I'm doing scratch, so I can go to the more abstract one. All right, I'm still going to do scratch, and then I'll go to t. The same problem. We're going to solve this equal to 6. And not 6, 5. Okay, and now I want all of you, okay, to solve this for me. I want all of you to solve this for me. And give me the answer. Every one of you consider yourself responsible for solving. And you have the pattern. What's the idea? Isolate the x term so we can do it. All right, I'm starting to have answers. If you can get that, you will get this very easily. Okay, another one, another good answer. Keep going. Please put your answer. Don't be afraid if they are wrong. Okay. All right. Getting better. All right. I'm having enough. So for though we're gonna do it together, and everyone who did a mistake, you should realize by me working what mistake you did. All right. So the idea is, again, I have to solve for this, which is in the denominator, which is we really have trouble with. So by multiplying by the square root of x both sides, what we're actually doing is bringing it up to the numerator, which make it easy for us to work with. So we multiply by the square root of x both sides. And that will give me 3 equal 5 times the square root of x. And now I still want to isolate this. So I divide by 5, both sides, which would give me 3 over 5 equal the square root of x. Now I need my x. I square both sides. So this square equal this square. And now this will give me 3 over 5 times 3 over 5 is 9 over 25, which is equal to x. And now I was able to solve for my x. For those who did not do it correctly, please check the work. Okay, so that's my scratch work, just to get ready to do the, so here what I'm finding is f inverse of 2. I mean, I'm looking for the input where the output is 2. So the output is 9 over 4. Here, I looked for the input, which output is 5. And this is 9 over 25. And as you realize, I'm doing the same thing. So the question is, instead of doing it for 5 and for 2, why don't you do it in a little bit more general way for any t? So now I want you to go back to the initial problem, and I want you to find f inverse of t. It means I want you to give me x in terms of t. Again, you have 2 minutes to do it. Now it should not be very hard. Okay. All right. Anybody beside anybody else? Okay. All right. We're getting better now, so let us do that. Again, we have to solve for x. We're gonna do exact same thing, multiply by the square root of x both sides. Remember, x is the unknown. X is the unknown. T is what you know. X you don't know, t you know. You're solving in terms of t. So now we're going divide by t, because that's the one, that's not the constant. We keep it in our mind, which give me 3 over t is the square root of x. Now square both sides. I will get 3 over t, the whole thing squared, is the square root of x squared. And now finally, I get x equal 3 over t squared is 3 squared over t squared. So this will give me 9 over t squared. So f inverse of t, it means the function that give me the input in terms of the output, is 9 over t squared. End of the problem. Okay. All right. So this will give us an algebraic way how to find the inverse. I like those problems. First, we know how to do that. And second, because the algebra involved, which is really definitely necessary for us. Right. So today we are going to start section 2. Sorry, I have to keep up. 2.7 parabolas or quadratic function. All right, so section 2.7. Okay, quadratic function. Now this section has a lot in it. I mean, a tremendous amount. So I will not do it in all the details that the section is have. I will actually give you what I know that is necessary for you. More than giving you the whole thing, I give you what I think is necessary. And it's going to involve a lot of formulas, and I'm sorry about that, but I have to do it. Okay, so before I talk about what is a quadratic function at all, I'm going to remind you, so what does it mean to say the graph of f is concave up? What does it mean to be concave up? And what does it mean that the graph of f is concave down. So what does concave up, concave down mean? All right, means the following. Concave up means that first, the curve is not really a straight line. It means it's curving. That's what the curve is curving. Concave up, it means the curve upward. That's what concave up means. So that's concave up. So it means like a cup that you hold it this way. That's concave up. So now concave down, because the book using this, and you should know them, concave down, it means the curvature of the curve is down. So that's a concave up graph. And that's a concave down. Okay. So far, we only saw really linear function. Means we only saw function whose graph is a line. And we know that this is not always the case. Function curve, concave up, it means curvature upward, concave down, curvature downward. Now, what is a quadratic equation? So before a quadratic function, before we do that, what we saw so far is what we call linear function. That's what we saw a lot. And linear functions are functions where the output has the following form. A slope m times x to the power 1, which was crucial, plus b. That's what the linear function are. So they have this format. Okay. And we learned that this is the slope, that's the intercept, and the graph here is a line. So that's what we know. Now, what is a quadratic function? Quadratic function, quadratic function is a function of the following form. Okay, quadratic function is a function of the following form. F of x equal, I'll write it on a whole new page. So it's function of the following form. F of x equal a constant a times x squared plus a constant b times x plus c, where a is different from 0. So quadratic functions are functions where the highest power of x is equal to 2. So the quadratic is ax squared, bx plus c. Linear is bx plus c. So quadratic, it means we're going 1 degree higher for a, where a is a number which is different from 0. So before we work with those functions, I'm going to give you a bunch of functions. I'm going to ask you the following. Which of the following is a quadratic? Which of the following is a quadratic equation? Sorry, a quadratic function. I'm going to give you a bunch of functions, and which one is quadratic? So let's say f of x equal 2 x squared minus 4x plus 6. F of x equal 2 square root of x, and f of x equal minus 5x plus 2, f of x equal x cubed plus 4x squared plus 1. Okay, which one is quadratic? And for those who are quadratic, we want the a, the b, and the c. Okay, so the first one. Is this a quadratic function? It means, does it have the form? A constant times x squared plus a constant times x plus c. Yes or no? Okay. It has a constant x squared, a constant x plus a constant c. So that's quadratic. What is the a? What is the b? And what is the c? Okay, a is what x squared is multiplied by. B is what x is multiplied by, and c is the constant term. So what's a in this problem? What's x squared multiplied by? Very quickly. 2. What's b? It means what's x multiplied by? X is multiplied by -4. C is my constant term. Okay, now 2 square root of x. Is this a quadratic function? Yes or no? Remember, square root of x is x to the power a half. So definitely not quadratic. Quadratic has to be x squared. Absolutely not. Minus 5x plus 2. Is this quadratic? Yes or no? Again, no. The power of x is 1. That's linear. And the last one. Is this quadratic? I mean, does it follow the format? No, nothing deeper than that. Okay, x cubed plus 4x squared plus 1. Okay, the highest power is 3. That's not quadratic. Okay, so quadratic are very specific. It's 1 degree higher than the linear. 1 degree higher than the linear. And those are the functions that you will use a lot. Now, how does the graph of a quadratic function look like? Okay, that's where I'm going a little bit to wave my hand on some part, but not a lot. So, graph of quadratic. Quadratic functions. Okay. First, I will do the graph of the 2 basic ones, and then I will give you the graph of the general one, how in general they look like. So the 2 basic one, so the basic one, graph of f of x equal x squared. That's the most basic quadratic, because here the a is 1, the b is 0, and the c is 0. So what's the graph of f of x equal x squared? It means basically, I'm sure all of you know it, but I have to go through it. Basically, we have to take, how do we sketch the graph? We take input, output, and we connect the point. That's really what graphing is about. So we take several values till we see a pattern, and then we start connecting. That's really how we do it. Okay, at -1, the output is -2 squared, it's a 4. So at -2, I am at 4. At -1, -1 squared, I am at 1. At 0, I am at 0. And at 1, I am at 1 squared, which is 1. At 2, sorry, if this is 1, 4 should be right here. My apologies. So forget about that. So at 2, I am at 4. So first, is this a graph is a line? Absolutely not. The graph is going to go like this, and the graph will go absolutely like that. So it's totally curving graph, definitely not a line. And as you guys know, this is what we call a parabola. So the graph is what we call a parabola. And this is, we call it the vertex of the parabola. Okay, so f(x) equal x squared, absolutely, you should totally memorize. This is nothing more than a parabola. Now, if I put -x squared, instead of a plus, I put minus. So the same thing, but I put a minus. How will the graph be affected this time? How will the graph be affected? Okay. Again, I take values. Okay, we do it, values. We take input, output, -x squared. And now what's happening here? If this is -2, this would be -2 squared. Okay, -2 squared is -2 times -2, that's a -4. So I get -4. So at -2, x squared gave me 4. When you multiply it by a minus, what will give me absolutely a -4. because you're basically just multiplying by a minus sign. At -1, you're going to get -1. X squared gives you 1. This one is going to give you -1. At 0, nothing changed. At 1, this will give me a -1. And at 4, it will give me that. So it's going to be exactly the same, but it's going to go down. Okay, so if you have minus in front of the x squared, it's a fact to have a parabola going down. Now this is basically concave up. In this case, the minus will make it concave down. And this is the vertex. That's really my vertex. Okay, so these are the two simple parabola. Now the question is, okay, what if I have a parabola in if I have in a general quadratic function? And this is where I'm just going to give you the formulas without going deep into where it comes from, because I'll lose you. So in general, so this is x squared minus x squared. I mean, you should have it totally memorized, the graph of those functions. It's as important as linear. They come up a lot with us. Now, part 2 is, what's the graph of a quadratic function? Right? I would rather have a clean page here so I can work with it. So graph of a general quadratic function. It means ax squared plus bx plus c, where my a is different from 0. Because if a is 0, that's linear. So I need a different from 0. So the graph will also depend whether I have a positive number here or a negative number here. So let's see how the graph would look in general. Okay. That's how the graph would look like. It's like a parabola, like x squared, but kind of shifted. So we're going to break it into two cases. When the coefficient of a is positive, and when the coefficient of x squared is negative. In this case, it's going to look like the x squared, but shifted a little bit. So the vertex will be shifted. And when a is negative, is going to be also like minus x squared, where the vertex is going to be shifted right here. So that's really how the graph looks like. But the question is, and that's where I'm going to give you the formula without a lot of explanation. I apologize for that. What is the coordinate of the vertex? So it's going to be shifted, but now here I have a new vertex. And what's the coordinate of the vertex? And that's the one I would like you to memorize. The x coordinate of the vertex is equal to minus b over 2a. So the vertex is going to be shifted somewhere. So what's the x coordinate of it is minus b over 2a. So that's the x coordinate. So this is minus b over 2a. That's the x coordinate of the vertex. The y coordinate is whatever the function take at this point. So that's the y coordinate. It's the output at this point. Okay, so the x coordinate of the vertex is, so right here, that's minus b over 2a. That's the vertex. And this here is minus b over 2a. Okay, so with this info, we can sketch all the quadratic functions that we want. And that's what I'm going to be doing right now. So right now, we're going to do the following, at least two problems where we're going to practice those ideas. So question number 1, example 1. Okay, very simple. Let f of x be equal to x squared plus 4x minus 5. Okay, so my question is first, question number 1 is find, so that's quadratic. That's quadratic. Important. My a is 1. My b is 4. So you always have to identify a, b, c when you have quadratic. A is what x squared multiplied by 1. B is what x multiplied by 4. C is the term that has no x. Question number 1 is find the x coordinate of the vertex. Okay, so that's a parabola. I want the x coordinate of the vertex. And then we will have a graph where I fit everything. Okay, what's the x coordinate of the vertex? Okay. The formula tells me that's equal to minus b over 2a. Okay, now what is my b here? My b is 4 over 2a, it means 2 times 1. It is minus 2. That's the x coordinate. Question number B is find not the coordinate, both coordinate. So find the coordinate of the vertex. What's the difference here? The first one, I'm only asking you about the x coordinate. Right here, I want you to coordinate, means I want the x and the y coordinate of the vertex. So let me now get a picture to start building up. Okay, so far, this is, the graph is like a parabola. My A is positive, it means my parabola going up. The vertex happen at minus 2. So this is this is minus 2. It means that my vertex should be right here. But now, is it here? Is it here? I don't know. I want to find the y value to be able to know exactly where my vertex is. So find the coordinate of the vertex. What does it mean? X coordinate is minus 2. What's the y coordinate? To find the y coordinate, I need to find the value of the function at minus 2 because the vertex is on the graph. It's on the graph, this point. So we need to find the y coordinate. So what is f of minus 2? It's minus 2 squared plus 4 times minus 2 minus 5. It means that's a 4 minus 8 minus 5. Now, 4 minus 8 minus 4 minus 5 minus 13. So the coordinates are minus 2 minus 13. No, I did a stupid mistake, didn't I? 4 minus 8, that's going to give me minus 4 minus 5 minus 9, my apology. Minus 9. What does it mean to us in terms of the graph? It means if this is minus 2 and this is minus 9, my parabola will have its vertex here. Now I can almost sketch my parabola. I know that the A is positive, and what I told you when A is positive is concave up. So my parabola somehow is going to look something like that. Absolutely like that. Okay, so it's very good. I mean, we're going to work more on graphing it correctly, but it's already a very good sketch of the graph. So now suppose I ask you the following. What is the smallest value obtained by the function? So that's a function, it has its graph. And suppose I ask you what's the smallest value obtained by the function? What is the smallest value obtained by the function? So that's question number C. Smallest value obtained by the function. It means we look at the graph. What's the smallest output? That's really what the smallest value. So if I know that, then the smallest output is minus 9. So being able to find the vertex actually will help me find what's the smallest value obtained by the function because it occurred at the vertex itself. Okay. If the graph is like that, the A is negative, I will be able to find the largest value obtained by the function. If the graph is concave up, a positive, I can find the smallest value obtained by the function. All right, let's practice one more problem along those lines. So, okay, I'll give you that f of x equal. f of x equal minus 2x squared plus 4x plus 3. Okay, and if the graph was concave down with the smallest value, no, if the graph is concave down, then we say there is no smallest value. Okay, we don't say it's minus infinity because minus infinity is not a number. Minus infinity is an idea. In other words, we say something goes to minus infinity, it means something that's keep taking larger and larger negative value. Okay, so if a graph is concave down, it means there is no smallest value. The function, the value keep going less and less and less. All right, so, okay. Now, let me take this following function, f of x equal minus 2x squared plus 4x plus 3. That's absolutely a quadratic. And my a here is what x squared multiplied by. My b is 4, and my c is 3. Immediately when you have quadratic, you identify the a, the b, and the c. And now my question is, we know that, not we know, I told you, if a is negative, it's going to be concave down. So now my question is, find the largest value obtained by the function. By the function. Okay, so this is a function. So it's an input and output. And when we graph it, we're going to get something, you know, I honestly don't know how to do it without doing the math, but I know that somehow I'm going to get a is negative. It means we're going to have something like concave down. And my question is, find the largest value. To find the largest value, it means I want this. That's the largest value. To find it, I need to find first the vertex here. Once I find the vertex, I plug in its value for x in the function and I find my function. All right, so you guys have first, so we need to find the vertex. Okay. And this is where you have to use your formula. And I hate to dump formulas on you, but I don't have a choice. Okay, so we have first to find the x. Once I find the x coordinate, I plug it back into the function and I find the y coordinate. Okay, you have a minute to give me the x coordinate. Okay. Right. So my x coordinate minus b over 2a. Okay, I'm getting 1. Okay, I'll check your work. Minus b is 4. 2a is 2 times minus 2. My x coordinate is 1. So now I'm starting to build a picture in my hand. That's the x coordinate. If I want the largest value, I actually want the y coordinate in this particular problem. So what is the y coordinate? Okay, each one of you do it. 5, do you agree? Okay, so I need f of 1. So the function hits its largest value at 1. That's a 7 minus 2 is equal to 5. Okay, so the function that's equal to 5. So the function reached its maximum value at 5. So very little info using just this simple formula for the vertex. And I have a whole new idea how to graph all those functions and how to really understand them. Okay, all right, that's it for today. You guys, as you know, you have your quiz for Thursday, and make sure you do your online homework. As I looked last night, a lot of you haven't touched it yet. So please get going. Okay, for those who have any questions, you guys can stay, the rest can go. Okay? So if anybody has questions about homework or anything, you guys can stay, I can answer you. Otherwise, you can leave. Okay, Nick, Carly, Connor, do you have any questions? Nick? Are you guys with me? Carly, do you have any questions? Connor? Okay, Nick, any questions? Nick?